This is the Laugh or Else radio show. I'm Tim Radicek, and this is Donnie Goldman.
Laugh
or else.
We've got a little bit of time left here, Donnie. Let's check out what else is in the news. I heard an interesting story about one Mr. Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps, the progressive dater.
Yeah, I heard he landed a big fish on Tinder.
I heard it was just a worm, though.
A worm? Maybe.
All right, enough with the innuendo.
Yeah, so we're going to draw up the story here. Michael Phelps' girlfriend confessed to him she was intersex before going public. Intersex, is that a word you're familiar with, Donnie?
It is not a word I had heard until I went through the article earlier, and it seems to me that it is the new politically correct term for what we used to call a hermaphrodite.
Okay, I mean, isn't hermaphrodite still an acceptable term?
I believe it's in Grey's Anatomy, if I'm not mistaken.
And in what way? Not the TV show, right?
No, the actual book Grey's Anatomy.
I was going to say, what do you do? Are you a middle-aged old lady going through menopause?
Hey, man, that's a really good show. Don't knock me for it.
All right, and so is Doctor Who, which I've never watched.
Yeah, well, people just so that we can be on the same page, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, in an article from a website called Hollywood Life, she tried to be honest. Michael Phelps' girlfriend came forward and revealed she was born intersex to the world on her own terms. But in speaking to HollywoodLife.com exclusively, in all capitals, Taylor Leanne Chandler explains it was only after she told Michael privately. So, Taylor Leanne Chandler, the woman, in quotes, I'm using quotes, the woman who confessed to being Olympian Michael Phelps' girlfriend prior to him going to rehab on November 20th has been suffering from severe backlash since sharing her story of being born intersex with the world. But even her harshest critics don't know all the details, as Taylor explains that she told her little secret to Michael before she told anyone else. I wonder if we're going to get into any details.
It seems to me that using Michael Phelps as her boyfriend to, springboard herself into the public eye as a double-sexed person doesn't necessarily seem like the best plan of action to become famous.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not all that hot in the limelight right now. So.
Well, the Olympics aren't on.
It could be that
he's not a full-time athlete. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's swim meets and stuff, but it's not as though that's compelling sports television.
It could be that he's just trying to get his name out there, and this is all a big sham. But let's continue, shall we?
Well, if that's his course of action for trying to keep his name fresh, that's not a wise one either.
No, but it seems that the gossip of any sort is positive these days,
Well, considering that even the gossip rags pretty much constitute half of legitimate media, yeah, we're that's where we are, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't call any of that crap legitimate. Anyway, Taylor Leanne Chandler, Michael Phelps knew I was intersex. Michael, 29, has been ignoring all of Taylor's 41, that's her age, attempts to communicate since her story became headlines on November 20th. While the general assumption is that Michael is avoiding Taylor for deceiving him, Taylor explains that she was nothing but honest about her past. I told my story to Michael a day before I posted it on my private Facebook and public walls. Taylor tells HollywoodLife.com exclusively. She goes on to explain that why is it the text is getting smaller every paragraph? She goes on to explain that those who consider her a fame whore, in quotes, that isn't me saying that, for parading her story around and hiring a publicist. Why would you hire a publicist? Are jumping to...
Why would a publicist take that job?
Because it's something that'll get attention, obviously. We're talking about it, aren't we? Jumping to conclusions before knowing all of the facts. Why do I have a publicist? Well, that's what we were asking, because I am an interpreter of what sort I'm asking. I had a company website. I am licensed, credentialed, and my contact info was public, she explained. I thought by telling my truth and feeling free for the first time in 41 years...
Wait, she was feeling that way when she was 1?
Yeah, or in utero. Instead, I am just an evil born... I am just an evil born a man? Fraud. Never dated Michael, liar to the world. What the hell's wrong with that sentence there, Donnie?
Well, I'm guessing that being intersex has obviously crossed the wires of linguistic skills in her brain.
Yeah, a malfunction there. Michael Phelps' girlfriend says he hasn't called since I revealed I...
Well, at least we know where he stands.
Wait, let me reread this sentence here, because this is something that's... Michael Phelps' girlfriend says, I didn't see the colon there. It was kind of interesting the other way around.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, but anyway, perhaps the worst of all the drama for Taylor is that she has lost what she thought was a real connection, and there's a link to something else, with Michael. After her past became public knowledge and tabloidal headlines, Taylor waited for Michael to call her, another link to something else. But he didn't, and he still hasn't.
Now, here is an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
You're Michael Phelps.
I wish.
Do you really right now?
20 gold medals?
Now, you're a 22-time gold medalist in the Olympics. You may be eligible for the next one coming up. You may make it, depending on how your body holds out.
I'm following.
You are as famous can be when the Olympics are on.
Right. Most eyes are on you.
And your name is recognizable enough that you're still in the public eye between Olympics.
May even be on another Wheaties
box. And that's big time for an athlete.
Sure. That's the top of the mountain.
After this story comes out and he decides, you know what? I love this woman. I'm going to be with her. A man in that public position, what would be the backlash towards him if he decided to continue that relationship with all the facts about her being out in the public eye?
I think it would be a positive thing for him. Because as we both know, the transgendered community is growing exponentially from where it was 5 years ago.
This is true. This is true.
They're getting their own media outlets. They've got their own figureheads at this point. You ever heard of Bailey J?
I have not heard of Bailey J. No.
Most convincing transgendered woman I've ever seen.
Well, good for her.
Yeah. Okay.
And I will call her because that's how she wants to be seen.
That's exactly right. And so I think it would be positive for him. He'd gain more fans.
Within but the amount of fans that he would win within the niche community that still is.
Right, and then on the negative side is how many would he lose as a result?
That's exactly it. And how
the religious fanatics that, think...
Because we got to remember, in the broad scheme of America, Chicago, New York City, Dallas, San Francisco, these are the cosmopolitan areas where... the general outlook of thought and generally accepted thoughts are what are being, kind of perpetrated across the country. Most of it is not that. Most of it is middle America, and a lot of those people are not necessarily evil or bad, but certainly ignorant of things.
Absolutely.
And Michael Phelps is definitely an all-American... small town kind of guy, you know what I mean?
As far as I know, the Bible says that a man, this is only hearsay from what I've heard from Westboro Baptist Church, that a man should not lay with another man, correct?
This is the generally accepted phrase in the Bible.
Okay.
It may or may not be there. I've never read it.
It says nothing about a person who was born with both sets of genitalia. So in that instance, where does the Bible stand, do you think?
I wonder how common that was back then.
I don't think it was at all.
Very little pollution in the water.
I would imagine in the scientific community this would be some sort of mutation, right? It's not natural.
Mutation in the most clinical sense of the word.
Right. That's why I prefaced it with the scientific community.
Yeah.
Mumbo jumbo. There's one more paragraph here to this story, and it's obviously a puff piece because, well, we'll find out. I went through hell for him. I protected him. I stayed quiet as the media ripped me apart for 7 weeks. Whoa, 7 whole weeks. How did you manage? I've trusted him and fell for him. My past, my livelihood has all been exposed and taken from me. Yet I am evil and destroying his life. I have friends that can be on my social media because they don't want to be linked to this. I can't go to the gym, the mall, or anywhere without people knowing who I am. First is Michael's girlfriend portrayed by the media, and then by my whole past. Taylor tells Hollywood Life exclusively. Poor girl.
Poor girl.
Okay.
It seems to me that she signed up for this when she decided to come public.
I'm going to go ahead and say that she actually spent money to have this article published. How do you think that would work?
I haven't the faintest idea. I mean,
it's all right. It's fact.
I mean, are we talking a payola type thing? I'll pay you guys to print this story.
Yeah, it's fact that people like Kim Kardashian use the paparazzi. They pay them to come find them out in the streets.
Really?
Yes, this is common practice in media. That people like Britney Spears, who may not be getting enough attention, will do something like shave her head bald.
Go ridiculous to get back in the headlines.
Right, and they tip off the paparazzi to where they're going to be, at what time.
And then, Britney's meltdown.
Right, and then they buy all the pictures so they can copyright them themselves.
Huh.
This is. I think this is the work of a PR team, because we didn't get any details about like what it is exactly is going on with her. I heard the way it works with him, is that he's swinging some pipe, yet he's got a cavity with no ovaries. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, so Michael Phelps, in approaching second base, is going to find this out right away.
Well, how long did they date?
Didn't say.
Okay, well, she could very well have just performed fellatio on him.
Okay, but you're copping some feels, right?
I know I would be copping some feels. However, I mean, she may be very adept at tuck jobs. I'm not sure. I'm sure you have to be some kind of artist to be able to get away with it.
Maybe there's some apparatus you can wear that's like
a big flat diaper.
Yeah, like a concealing apparatus.
But or maybe he start. Well, look, a gentleman doesn't just go straight and grab for
Okay,
the nether regions. You're touching behind and you're touching thighs, and maybe she. You know what? Let cool your jets, cool your hands, sit back. Let me take care of you.
Right. Right.
So there is a legitimate angle to his ignorance of it, but again, we're talking about a level of intimacy between the two of them that I really want no details of.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel dirty for having read this on here, dude. Like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem that newsworthy.
No, it doesn't, but that seems to be what's taking up most of the time.
All right.
I mean? So we have to comment on it.
Yeah, and let's have some fun with it. I'm going to put you in a scenario, Mr. Goldman.
Do that.
You leave a club with what appears to be an 8 on the beauty scale.
Highly unlikely for me, but I'll take the scenario.
All right.
I know where we're going, but it's not nice. But hey.
She says, let's get a hotel room next door. She's paying.
Again, not happening, but
well,
I'm enjoying the moment.
Okay. This is not actual happen. It's not happening tonight, but maybe one day. Anyway. She says, let's go get a hotel room. Everything works out. You're making out, bumping, grinding a little bit.
Clothes are still on.
Clothes are still on.
But they're getting tight.
Now, she's, like I said, she's an 8 or 9 on your scale, whatever that may be. Beautiful on the eyes. Perfect body, all of that, And then the clothes come off. All right, now let's pretend that the action happens from the backside.
So I'm not catching the front end. I'm penetrating from behind.
Right, and I think we're treading some dangerous waters with this scenario, but...
So I don't find out until after the fact is basically the end game.
That's exactly where I'm going with this.
You know what? It's hard to say because I like to think that I'm a pretty progressive thinking person. And I do try to be, and I'm very open-minded towards different cultures and different people and these things,
Okay.
I would probably go ballistic and sock Shim in the face. And I think I would be in my right to do so as a human being.
So, because you were misled?
I was misled, and and not being attracted to guys. That to me is
but technically
tantamount to some kind of mental sexual assault.
Technically, she's just got extra parts.
Yeah, but if
one quite similar to yours,
right. But let me add. Okay, you're faced with a delicious chocolate chip cookie with a piece of turd on it. What are you thinking about, the cookie or the turd?
I might eat around it. I don't know. How hungry am I? How good are these cookies?
Well, now we're getting into a whole Pandora's box of questions. How hungry are you? How horny are you?
All right.
We got
So there would be no return trip for you?
No, there would be no return trip for me. Shim would get punched in the face. And again, it's not that I'm hateful of the person's lifestyle choice, but the deception would be enough to cause a fit of anger, which I think would be understandable.
I think that may be what happened to Mr. Phelps here. I think he didn't know. And then she came out publicly and said this. Like, maybe they never even got closer than kissing.
That very well may be true. See, we automatically assume sex.
Right.
And that wasn't even hinted at, let alone implied.
And then she said he's been ducking her for 7 weeks.
I would duck her too.
There's nothing you're going to say to...
Going to make me forget about this.
Right. Not only that, how are you going to explain that you're not interested in that, without hurting someone's feelings?
Well, you know what? I mean, the fact of life is that any, rejection in a relationship is going to cause some hurt feelings. Nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah, Michael Phelps, if you're out there, call us. I want to know what's up, dude.
Invite us to one of those parties you're always having, man. Those things seem bitchin'.
Yeah, I wonder if he still rips bong hits, man. That's incredible.
Well, I know he is now.
Yeah, he's probably basted somewhere in a corner.
He's got whiskey at the bottom of that bong.
They always said that winners don't use drugs, and 22 gold medals later,
winners still don't use drugs.
All right, well, I guess weed isn't a drug.
I've never considered it to be.
No, and it's recreational in 2 states now, and it's slowly spreading. Hey, we get, starting January 1st here in Illinois, we get medicinal.
And they've already decriminalized it to an extent within the city of Chicago.
In Crook County. It's okay to have up to like 15 grams, and it's only a fine.
And 15 grams is quite a lot.
It's almost an ounce.
So
we're
getting there.
Laugh
or else.